Hey family, God bless you. I have some dreams I want to share with you, a list of dreams that I've had in the past couple weeks. Some things that I was holding on to during that whole break period um, that I feel is a great time to share with everybody. Um, so this first dream I had on January 4th, I saw a baby boy was born that was taken up into the mountains area. And I said I would visit on the steep hill, but not to catch a pail of water. Not really sure about the catching a pail of water part means, but I know it has something to do with the well, and I know the well um, represents God or the Holy Spirit and the Word, going to the well to get water from the well. That's learning the word and studying the word and just being filled with the Spirit, things like that. But the baby boy, the child that was taken up into the mountains area, I highly believe the mountains area represents heaven. And the baby boy represents the man child. So, relating to that, Revelation 12:5 says, "She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all nations with an iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne." So then on January 15th, I believe I had a sort of confirmation to that dream, that previous dream. So in this dream, I was shown an album cover, and on the album cover, um, it had a baby boy standing up, holding a crown above his head in one hand. And I believe it was his right hand, but I'm not sure. But the fact that it was a baby holding a crown, a baby boy, man child that was holding a crown. A crown represents kingship or ruling, and at the throne that represents God's kingship. So I highly believe that's what this was representing. So then another dream I had on January 15th. It was I was given a word that night, and I saw this word being written, and I started to see like an S, um, a letter S. And then I heard 7 years. So could this possibly have to do with the 7 year tribulation? Could God be telling us that the beginning of the 7 year tribulation is right around the corner, which I know it is right around the corner, but could he be saying that we have already stepped into that time period? Um, then on January 18th, I had a dream where I was next to someone at their desk, and it was like a school desk. And the person that was at their desk got up and they were yelling that the yellow gorillas set a fire under their desk. So I saw this fire lighting under their desk. Then the scene changed, and I was standing near a tent, and a fire lit, a great fire just lit up, and the fire went up like a fountain, like it was just squirting. It was like spurting out like a fire, like a fountain, like a water fountain, and or like a geyser coming from the ground. And then as I'm gazing at this fire, I notice a man that I knew was my father appeared near the fire, like right next to the fire. But I was not really focused on him, so I didn't really see what he looked like. I just saw like his silhouette, and I was just so drawn to this fire. I was just staring at this fire. And then the man that appeared next to the fire started talking to me, but I don't remember what he said because I was just so focused on this fire. It was like it was just it was beautiful, like it was amazing just looking at this fire. I don't know why. So then, but I do know why. But so Exodus 24:17 says, "And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel." And Hebrews 12:29 says, "For our God is a consuming fire." So I highly believe that God the Father appeared to me as this fire. It reminded me of the burning bush, and if it wasn't God the Father, then it was obviously Jesus. But I believe it was God the Father because of the fact that I saw this man figure that I knew was my father. And another reason why I say that is because I had been praying for God to allow me to see His glory before that for a while. So I believe this was an answer to that. So then that same night I had this dream, and I didn't want to share this dream because of what this dream was about. Um and I don't know, I just didn't want to share this dream. But I believe it's important to share this dream. So I saw in this dream I saw Donald Trump, and he escorted me to a building that was covered with red and white stripes. And I knew they were the red and white stripes of the American flag. And it was like a long rectangular shaped building. And he said, well, the building, before I get to the next part, like it was like stacked, like it was a long rectangular shaped building, and then there was another part of the building on top of that was rectangular shaped, but it was smaller. And I didn't understand what that building was, but I'll explain that in a second if you haven't already guessed it. But so he said to me that we were going into God's house, or we were going to God's house, and I saw like when he said to God's house, I saw the word God, but it was a little g, a lowercase g, God. So as we were walking, I saw the house or the building that we were going into, and above that, as I was saying, was another part of the building, but I knew it was separate. It was separate from that lower building, and it had a light. The front lamp of the house was turned on, like it was lit, and it had a door, a front door, like you would see at a house. And then I had said to Donald Trump, after he said that we were going to God's house, I said, "You mean the only living God's house?" So I did some research on that, and because I was trying to find this building, I'm like, I just felt that this building was real. Like it wasn't a symbolic. Well, part of it was symbolic, but the part where I saw the red and white stripe, I knew it was American flag. I just felt this represented something natural, and I finally found it, and this was before the inauguration, but that's what that represented. It represented the Capitol building, because if you go back and look at pictures of the inauguration, you see they have the red and white flag, the red and white stripes that go down vertical on the bottom part of the building at the inauguration, and then above the part that they where they stand where they do their speech at, you see the other part of the building on top, and it's a little smaller than the part at the bottom, and that's what that building represented. And and I believe that the building that was on top represent the reason why I saw the light was on, because I knew that that represented the real God's house. The fact that it was on top, I knew like that like God's house is not his house, but it's above his house. Like God's house is he's the most high. So so I was kind of offended in a way when he said, we're going to God's house, because I was like, are you trying to say you're God? So in no way I'm not saying that he's the Antichrist, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have a part in the Antichrist coming and all that stuff. But I just wanted to share that dream because I feel like it's very important, especially with the fact that a lot of people um are so drawn into the fact that supposedly Donald Trump got saved or something like that before he became president or something. So you know, I don't really know the whole story on that, or you know, if it's true or if it's not true. But the point is, God gave me that dream for a reason. So I feel like it's important to share it. So anyway, so the next dream I had on that same night, um, I I saw that there were seven white semi-open scrolls, and they were in the air. They were up in the air right in front of me. Like it was one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and they were just like floating in midair right above me, and like I knew to look at them. So I believe that could also be pointing to the 7 year tribulation. Um, it could be pointing to the seven seals on the scroll. You know, I'm not 100% sure on that one, what part of that message it's representing, but it could be both. But I believe God is just giving us little clues about this because these things are right around the corner. So then January 22nd, I had this dream where I was shown I was delivering a heart, and this heart was covered, it was like buried in stone bricks, like these stone bricks, like the same way, it's the same kind of formation that you would see a chimney, a stone chimney. It was like that. It was like inside of these bricks. So Ezekiel 36:26 says, a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh. So I know I was delivering, I was like, somehow I had some a part in delivering somebody's heart, somebody's flesh heart, or heart of flesh, and taking away their stony heart in this dream. Um, so this last dream I want to share, I had last night, and in the dream, like I was sort of awake but not, and I was speaking with God, and he kept showing me these verses from the Bible, but in the dream I knew the verses, like I knew, I was very familiar with these verses. But then when I woke up and I looked them up, like I couldn't find anything that was even close to what I was getting in this dream. But and I don't really remember all of them. I only remember one. So um in the one that I remember, I kept saying to God that I knew these verses, and the verse I remember, it was from the book of Revelation, um, and it was a verse that said, or part of it said, and with him was the Ancient of Days. And then I had said to God that I already knew the verse, and I asked him why he kept showing me this. And then he showed it to me again and again, like 3 or 4 times. He just kept saying the same thing. So I believe that this verse was referring to judgment coming, which I already know judgment is coming because he's given me dreams explaining that a while ago, like multiple dreams, and I've made videos on that. If you don't know those videos, could definitely go back and check them out. So I already know that I definitely know judgment is coming, and I know that he's preparing us for this as well, because he gave me a dream about that. But I believe that God Himself is preparing for the judgment, preparing Himself for the judging that He's going to be doing, along with the fact that He's preparing us to be judged. So Daniel 7:13 says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. So I know the Ancient of Days is also a title for Jesus, but I feel it also is a title for God the Father, because in this verse, Daniel 7:13, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, that's Jesus, and came to the Ancient of Days, that would be God the Father, and they brought him near before him. And then Daniel 7:22 says, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given for the saints of the Most High, and the time came when the saints possessed the kingdom. So, as we know that Jesus had been described as having white hair, or the Ancient of Days has been described as having a vestment of white, and hair that was white like wool. His vestment was white like snow, and his eyes were like flames. And that's another description that Jesus had. That Jesus was given that same description, as looking in that manner. So that's how we can combine the fact that the Ancient of Days is Jesus, and plus we know that Jesus has been given that He will give judgment. So there's lots of, and He has been given the kingdom. The kingdom has been passed on to Him because His kingdom is everlasting. But so I definitely know that God is telling us that He is preparing us, because He told me recently that we needed to prepare, but then He told me after that He is the one that is preparing. Like, we don't have anything to do with the preparing. He's preparing us. So praise God for that, because without Him we would not be worthy for any of this stuff. So God bless you guys. I love you. Thank you for listening and watching. Continue to pray for our brothers and sisters. Trust in the Lord. Stay in prayer and lean on the word. And I'll talk with you soon.